There was one couple in front of us who had to tap out by the time we got to the third act. And the third act gets nuts. It was this guy and his girlfriend or his wife, and the girlfriend was literally covering her eyes and cowering as the movie was playing out. The goopy, horrifying spectacle that was the finale. That is the finale of The Substance. It's very appropriate that we have this one fly buzzing around, chat, because it is a part of one of my favorite body horror films of all time. It's one of the supporting characters in that movie, and we are talking about a body horror film today. We're going to be doing my review for The Substance. So I have a lot of confidence in saying that the horror genre and its various subgenres have been in a really nice and healthy place for the last decade or so. Certainly when it comes to the 2020s alone, just so far. Whether it be the resurrection of dormant horror franchises, like Scream, or just some wonderfully new and fresh-feeling work like, Ty West's X trilogy, especially with films like X and Pearl, or other films like, Barbarian, Talk to Me, The Menu, Megan. Hell, this year alone, 2024, we've gotten some big surprises with films like Out of Darkness, The First Omen, Cuckoo, Late Night of the Devil, which is, one of my absolute favorite films of this year so far. What I'm saying is, us horror fans, we've been eating real good. We've been eating real good these last few years. It's delicious and it's so succulent, chap. And what's so great about being a horror fan, despite all the bad horror films that we get along the way, like this year's Night Swim, or Imaginary, there's always inevitably something that will take us by surprise and win us all over, or at least many of us over, and be not just, one of the best horror films of the year, but just one of the best films of the year in general. And that film this year is the body horror movie The Substance. Now, I saw this trailer a little ways back, and I thought it looked pretty interesting. It really intrigued me, and also my girlfriend, when it's popped up in the theater in front of other movies. But I guess I just kind of forgot about it. And you guys, both on Twitch and YouTube and other platforms, during our Discord sessions, you reminded me of it again when you all started seeing it for yourselves. And you just were talking about just, not how great it was, but how it was also just one of the best, if not the best film of the year. And I was like, wow, that's some heavy praise. And I was intrigued yet again. So, my girlfriend and I, we just saw it last night at a fairly packed theater. And I'll admit to you all right now, you guys that saw it were absolutely right. The Substance is an amazing movie and easily one of the best films of the year, and probably in my top 3 favorite films of 2024. And I mean, just thinking about it now, just talking about it right now with you guys, it might be, it's probably my favorite movie of 2024 so far. And I know I'm giving the film a lot of high praise already off the bat, but, let me at least provide you guys with a bit of background, a little bit of a synopsis for those that just really know nothing about it, don't know much about it. The Substance is a body horror film directed by a French filmmaker named, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher this person's name, my apologies, Coralie Farfgeet. I think that's how you're saying her name. I hope. My apologies if I mispronounce it. And the film stars Demi Moore as an aging Academy Award-winning actress named Elisabeth Sparkle. She's fired from her daytime aerobics show that she's, hosted in the latter part of her career by this gross producer played by Dennis Quaid. However, she comes to learn about this mysterious company that makes this substance that promises to transform and produce a better version of herself. basically a younger clone of herself that is still her, but played by Margaret Qualley. That's the general premise. And I want to be very careful about going into too much detail about the plot and all the horrifically grotesque twists and turns along the way. But believe me, guys, this movie escalates to such a degree that I just felt giddy by the time the credits rolled. My audience was having visceral reactions to what they were seeing on screen, laughing and squirming all the way through in the absolute best ways possible. You know, there was one couple in front of us who had to tap out by the time we got to the third act, and the third act gets nuts. It was this guy and his girlfriend or his wife, and the girlfriend was literally covering her eyes and cowering as the movie was playing out. The goopy, horrifying spectacle that was the finale. That is the finale of The Substance. Now, you all know that I love body horror films. If you don't know, I'm telling you right now, I love body horror films. Whether it be Alien, John Carpenter's The Thing, or David Cronenberg's The Fly, since we have my little co-host buzzing around me right now. This movie, and I don't want to oversell, I don't mean to oversell, I don't want to overhype it, but this movie and its special effects, its makeup, its practical effects are simply astounding. It's some of the best that I've seen this year, and I mean, I got to think about it. You know, maybe there's something that comes to mind. But not only best this year, but probably the best of this decade. The scenes and the scenarios that they create are gut-wrenching, disturbing, and hilarious, again, in the best ways possible. Just coupled with some fantastic editing, sound design, which really helps sell the practical effects even more. All the breaking and the squishing and the squelching and the blobby blob sounds are perfect. They're perfect. It's a technical spectacle and should absolutely be nominated for numerous accolades, right? All the technical awards. But the thing that keeps you truly invested outside of the amazing effects and all the technical craftsmanship on full display, it is the themes, the story, and the performances of the cast. A very small main cast, although they do have some supporting people in there, but a very small main cast that put everything they have into this movie, and they sell every goop-covered layer of it. It's a biting satire on celebrity culture and show business and the glorification and the exploitation of one's body. And the shaming of it once it doesn't fit a particular ideal, once it doesn't fit a particular standard anymore, and it's showcased wonderfully by the characters. Listen, there's a lot of ass in this movie, chat. There is so much ass. Sometimes it's a lot of ass you want to see. Sometimes it's ass you don't want to see. Maybe it might start out where it's like, I like all the asses on display, but the way they just showcase it throughout the movie, you eventually become kind of disgusted by it, even though it's perfect. It's so much. It's so gratuitous, and it's like, all right, it's too much. It's enough, and it's enough, and that's the point. That's the movie. That's the movie trying to make its point, and it makes its point wonderfully. Its execution is perfect. And again, the cast of characters, like the three main characters in this film, Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid, they are wonderful as their respective characters. Demi Moore, she gives, I mean, I think one of the best performances of her entire career, certainly in the longest time. I'm trying to think of like the last Demi Moore performance. I went, wow, she was absolutely incredible in this movie. The lengths at which she goes to sell this character and the things they put her through, in which she just seems like she's having a blast playing this. And again, I don't want to go into too much detail as to what happens to her, but it's mind-blowing. It is crazy, and she sells all of it. Like, and also she, it's funny because Demi Moore has a history in stardom in the filmmaking industry as a celebrity with how she showcased her body. And I feel like that's also why this filmmaker perhaps casted her in the movie and why she was so interested in the project. I mean, people don't remember, there was this infamous photo shoot that she did when she was like 7 months pregnant. It was for Vanity Fair. I think it was for Vanity Fair back in the day, and where she bared it all, like 7 months pregnant. It was it was like one of the first cases of like a pregnant sex symbol and stuff. And people had all different reactions. People thought like, oh, this is hot. And people thought like, this is disgusting, and all different things. It inspired so many conversations, parodies. It was a huge thing. And she's also been very, open about showcasing her body. She opens and showcases her body in all sorts of ways. It reveals everything, Chad. She's like in her 50s now, I believe. And they film her in such a way where she very much bears it all. I have a lot of respect for a filmmaker and actors who do bear it all, but it's not I don't think it's because this whole movie is commenting on the exploitation of bodies and how it's glorified and how it's abused and, again, exploited. And you got to be, again, to create those types of scenes, you need to make sure that everyone feels as comfortable as possible doing this stuff, right? Because I imagine can you imagine if Francis Ford Coppola directed this? Oh my God, he'd be like throwing himself and sexually harassing all these actors and poor Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley throughout the entire, it'd be a nightmare. But they must have just created such an environment where they can be comfortable and showcase their bodies in such a way that it produced such great performances. And what they end up doing with Demi Moore, it's not just a showcase of her abilities as an actor, but I think it's also commenting on her life and her career and what she's gone through back in her her heyday, or as she's aged. It's a really multifaceted performance. And she just seems to be having a blast with it. And again, I want to get into more details in just a bit about, I want to get into more details down the line eventually. I could talk about this movie with more spoilers. I don't want to do that yet because I want you guys to experience it for yourself. But what she goes through is harrowing, to say the least. Margaret Qualley, people probably best know her for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was one of the foot girls. She was one of the Manson girls that was hanging out with Brad Pitt. She was the one that had her feet being exploited by Quentin Tarantino, showing her feet on Brad Pitt's windshield. It was horrible. She was good in that movie. I thought she did a good job. She had certainly more screen time than Margot Robbie did. It was just a prop in that film. And maybe I've seen her in other things down the line. Nothing like really comes to mind. What they end up doing with her as the clone, if you will, the product of the substance that Demi Moore's Elisabeth Sparkle takes. What they do with her is great. And again, very similar to Demi Moore, where she's shown it all, Chad. I don't think I've seen an actor's butt and ass and everything else in between more. She has to be up there. Like, she is displaying it all. And initially, like, yeah, this is hot, right? You're like fucking Dennis Quaid, we'll get into Dennis Quaid in just a bit, who's just like, yeah, right? But eventually, you're kind of disgusted by it. It's like, this is too much, but that's the point of the movie. She does a great job. Her and Demi Moore, when they do share screen time with each other, is absolutely fascinating. And they're great. Wonderful chemistry. And a really cool performance. And then the last person I want to talk about is Dennis Quaid, who, again, Dennis Quaid, he's done some great movies, done some bad movies. This is one of his best movies. For whatever reason, I kept thinking about the film The Intruder, which I think you can make an argument it's a bad movie, but at the same time, it's a good movie. It's hilarious. He's the thing that sells that film. And he brings that same insane, manic energy in this movie, but unlike in The Intruder, where he initially tries to kind of hide it at times, it's on full display. He's at an 11. He's like the first showcase of body horror. Like, he plays this producer who is in charge of Demi Moore's aerobics show, and he's so like over the top. He's effeminate, but yet he's like all about, yeah, I gotta show the ass and the tits and stuff. He's wearing these ridiculous, very loud, colorful clothing. He has these shoes, almost like these platform shoes with these steel like backs to them. They steal heels, so when he hits the ground, you always hear him coming. You hear him before you see him, Chad. He's very loud. And I mean, one of the first introductions is him walking into a bathroom. I'll reveal this. This will be my one scene spoiler of the movie because I don't want to reveal any of the body horror scenes in this, but this might as well be body. I'll reveal two with him. Is when he walks in this bathroom, struggling to piss, and you hear it, Chad. You hear like that sound design is amazing. He's grabbing his dick, just like, just trying to pee, and it's coming out all wrong and goopy, and it's like he's got some blockage in there. He's probably got every STD imaginable, and he gets so close to the camera. It's so uncomfortable, like literally like, looking like that. And you think it sounds ridiculous, it looks ridiculous, but it works. It works. And you see every pore, you see inside of his mouth. And then later on, there's this one scene where he's sitting down with Demi Moore basically saying, like, we're firing you. You're a woman, you're old. And you see him watching these shrimp. He has these shrimp, which he's taking out of their shells, and he's dipping in butter. He's just eating it, and it's all coming. It's so gross. But he's so funny in the movie. He's such a wonderfully hilarious, disgusting character. And I loved him. Yeah, you're right, Chris. It's like 3D without the glasses with him. It's every time he's on screen. He's always doing something gross. So the body horror, it's not just reserved for Demi Moore. It's not just reserved for Margaret Qualley. Dennis Quaid gets to have some fun, too. And like everyone else introduced, too, there's some other like supporting characters, minor actors, like they show for like a couple scenes. And they're all good. Like no one is giving a bad performance in this movie. And coupled with these performances, this extremely smart script, all of its themes that it's incorporating into it, and just masterful technical aspects across the board. The special effects, the practical effects, the makeup. If this movie is not, because that's the thing about the Academy and some of these award shows, they have such a dismissiveness towards genre films, and they only feel like they only feel the obligation to nominate them for stuff once they're like huge global phenomenons. If critics love them, audiences love them, make a lot of money. You have your exceptions over the years. Your Silence of the Lambs, your Get Outs, if you will. But it takes so much effort to like get some of these films nominated. And this movie, even though it has fantastic, word of mouth right now, apparently it was supposed to be taken out of theaters early because it wasn't doing very well, but word of mouth kept it in there, so it's being like a little bit more money. I think right now it's made a little bit more, but I'm hoping that word of mouth continues and this gets noticed because it deserves all the technical nominations, best makeup, best special effects, especially those. And I think Demi Moore deserves a Best Actress nomination. What she does in this movie, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked without the degree which she goes to sell every disgusting, goopy aspect. She's wonderful, as is everybody else. So, yeah, I mean, I keep praising this movie. I keep saying the same things over and over. The cast is great. The technical aspects are great. It's a fantastic film. The movie is great. Watch The Substance, chat. Watch it. I don't think you'll regret it. I mean, if you're not in the body, one thing I would say, if you're not in the body horror, if you're like, I can't handle that, then I don't think you're going to be able to handle this. Once we get to like the second half and the last third, it's like, holy shit. It's as if John Carpenter, Sam Raimi, old school, David Cronenberg and Wes Craven created like they became like one grotesque director, like, I'll shoot it. And they made the last third of this movie. It's great. It's great. And it has a perfect ending. It's just an ending you go, oh fuck. It's very wet. It's a very wet movie. Yeah, so I recommend it, chat. Please do check out The Substance. One of the best movies of the year. I mean, I don't want to overhype it, oversell it, but it might be my favorite movie of the year so far, which is saying something. So, yeah, check out The Substance. But what about you guys? Those who've seen The Substance, let me know your thoughts. Did you love it as much as I did? Were you mixed on it? Did you not like it? Were you just scared like that poor woman in the audience going, oh, had to leave the theater because it was too much for her? Let me know.
5 minutes later.
Edgy Berserker, Kevin! good to have you, Reggie. How you doing? Hope you had a very nice stream, chat. As always, be sure to check out Edgy Berserker's channel. She is amazing. She's so much fun. Great conversationalist. Wonderful. Hope you're doing well, Edgy. Thank you for the raid. Edgy, I know you're doing a review, so no, you're good, Edgy. Thank you so much for the kind raid. Thank you. And welcome. Because ever since G.I. Jane fucked the rat, she's actually really good in that movie. Oh, did she get nominated for that? Or a Razzie nomination? I like G.I. Jane. I've seen G.I. Jane. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember liking the film. Dr. Mina Woman probably also helps. Yeah, I think that too. Whose name I definitely butchered. I looked online how to say it. Several reviews said it differently. I was like, I don't know. I tried. One day I'll learn how to say it. Let's see here. Bad Boy, The Juror is one of her unfairly hated movies. I've never seen it, so I can't say. It's a good thriller that becomes an action-adventure towards the end. Demi Moore sells it. Corsair, she was also Kim Bassider's daughter in The Nice Guys and Light's girlfriend. Oh, and Death and... Oh, that's right. I forgot. I didn't know she was that, but you're right in The Nice Guys, yeah. She also just in Poor Things. Oh, that's right. She was in Poor Things. Jesus. Kinds of Kindness and Drive Away Dolls. Which I have not seen Kinds of Kindness. I have not seen Drive Away Dolls, but I did see Poor Things. Great movie. The first or second scene, I can't remember which, where they do the zoom-in shot, instead of just how gross it is. Yeah, he's so gross. It's like... Yeah, it's the first one. He's in the bathroom where he's struggling to piss. I think director being French helped make everyone on set comfortable with being nude because generally as a culture, they're not. Yeah, it's true. Not as weird about nudity as we are. You're right, Katria. You're right. And Katria saw it with me and she loved it too. We were both high on it, chat. Because there is somehow more insane here than in The Intruder, despite the fact that he doesn't kill anybody. Yeah, he doesn't kill anyone in this one. But yeah, it's like. You're right. No, it is. Because in The Intruder, he initially tries to hide how crazy he is. In this, he's just like, it's on full display. It's like if that character went to Hollywood. I thought Dennis Quaid was the Tim Bagley from the previews. Let's see. Chris, it's like 3D without the glasses. Yeah, the shrimp scene was the zoom, and I was there's the initial scene in the bathroom, and then later on, it was quickly afterwards, they have the shrimp scene. It's so gross. Yeah. The Neighbor was funny. The Neighbor was good too. Yeah, like everyone does a great job. That's the other thing too about this movie, and it's very smart. Like you need to have comedy with it. Like there are some legitimately like laugh out loud moments in this film, and you need that because if you didn't, it would just be like fuck. It would be so oppressive. And there's legitimately some really smartly written jokes in this and funny scenarios. There's action scenes in this movie. And I can't go into details about them because they'd be huge spoilers, but Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley sell those action scenes. That's all I'll say. The shrimp scene is like eating dinner with... No, it's not! It's not like eating dinner with me. No, I'm not that bad. I made chicken. Oh, Lord. The wettest movies in the Avatar. It's goopy. I would describe it as super goop. There's so many fluids, chat. This movie has every fluid imaginable. It has some fluids you've never seen before. That can come out of a human body. Yes, it can, says the Substance. You see the Substance, several different versions of it. It's just gross. Yeah, if you have issues with just like bodily fluids, fuck. I don't know what to tell you. Before going, we will do a watch party for this movie. It's gonna happen. We need to do it, chat. It's. I can't wait. Once this is on VOD, we got to do it. Oh, Lord, let's see here. I think the goop in this makes the Seth Brundles fly look tame. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can see its influences. Obviously, it's the next generation. It's the evolution of this. Like to me, the 2020s, chat, been such a fucking awesome decade for horror so far. It's been so goddamn good. But when you think about like body horror movies of like certain decades and time periods and things, like this is going to be one of the like decades from now, this is going to be The Substance. So it's like, of course, The Substance. Yeah, we got to bring up The Substance as a classic, cult classic body horror film. It's up there. It is. It just is. Yeah. But you're right. Yeah. I mean, it makes it look tame now. It's the natural evolution. That ending is the definition of fuck. Oh God, the ending. The ending was like, Jesus. They go, again, no spoilers, but it's at 11. At the end. As I said before, it's as if John Carpenter, Wes Craven, Sam Raimi, and old school Cronenberg came together as one disgusting, grotesque directing abomination, said, we're gonna make this, and they did. Oh, she won the Razzie for G.I. Jane for some reason. Oh, was that during the this is when she was like posing like nude and like when she was pregnant, like that was like the time where everyone was like mocking her and stuff. So this movie kind of like I think comments on that. One of the gross things in this dentist grade was the most gross. That's fair. That's fair. It kind of is, yeah, through and through, inside and out. The substance made me moist like a fresh batch of oatmeal cookies. Chris's review. Yeah, put that on the poster. I love oatmeal cookies.